Hey friends, my name is Mitch, otherwise known as Soundboard, and this is my review of Great War Commander by Hexasim. So, this runs, I think, 80-ish retail. I paid 60, and I'm very happy with it. Let's discuss quality of the components. So you get a lot of maps, 12 maps, I think? Yeah, you get 12 maps, and they're double-sided. Well, you get 6, but they're double-sided, so you get 12 total maps. And they're really big, which I like because I didn't want to pay extra for the X maps or the 4K X maps or whatever. I mean, I'd rather just have the X maps in the box, and this is what you get here. You get some very high-quality, glossy, very colorful as well maps, and on each side you'll have your tracks, so you don't need like an extra 5 or 6 different charts on the side of your maps. It's included, the main things are included on the map. The graphics are really good. They're really nice, and there's a lot of different types of maps. So you have the winter scene. You'll have the abandoned, burned crater. You'll have the nice grassy scenes and things like that. And they're moderately thick. I mean, they're not huge thick, but I mean they're not paper thin. So obviously you're still going to put them under plexi, but the map components are great, as well as you get 16 scenarios, which I thought was fantastic. So you go to the scenarios, and you have like scenario 1, and then you have scenario 2, etc. And your pieces are clearly laid out, so you can go ahead and pre-stack your pieces before you deploy them to the map, which is nice. One of the things that bugs me about some of these games is they'll have the stacks, instead of having extra sheets, they'll have it inside the manual, so you have to hold open the manual, and then, no, I don't like that. I like that this is nice. It lays flat, pre-stack everything, and it goes over all the special rules. It goes over the setup, and it has your situation report, and it lets you know which map to get as well as where everyone starts. So really nice that they included this many scenarios. So you get a pretty good stack of scenarios. And the next thing that you get is the playbook, which includes, by the way, a random scenario generator. So when you're done with those 16, then you can pop open this and do some random generations of things. Nice example of play. Pretty thin scenario book, but it works. I mean, it's really nice. And then you get your terrain effects charts, ordered battles, and things like that. So the rule book is only 32 pages, which some people are like, only 32. I mean, I have plenty of above 80-page rule books. It's pretty clear. You've got nice, clear instructions with pictures about what goes where, examples of play, examples of placement. So very clear rule book, laid out well, and I like the rule book as well. So the chits, you don't get like a ton of chits. You can probably do 2 trays if you want to go sparing, but I fit it in 1 tray and a couple of bags for tanks, things that I don't use a lot. Tanks, crater indicators, wire, when you lay down wire and things like that. But the chits are very good quality. I mean, they're pre-rounded, and as well as their standard thickness here. They're pre-rounded, and they pop right out of the sprue, which is what I wanted to see. I don't like chits that you have to sit there and cut them out of the sprue. They pop right out, pre-rounded, nice thick chits. They have nice graphics on them. I'm not a fan of putting troop graphics on chits. I'd rather have standard notations because there's no consistency across games, but whatever. I mean, the graphics look nice. Everything is well represented on this. So you get everything that you need for all 3 sides, as well as obviously 3 decks of cards. I know you're probably yelling at me for doing the rubber band. It's really loose. Don't worry, it's really loose. So you get lots of cards. And this is similar enough to Combat Commander that if you already know Combat Commander, then you can get a quick list off BGG, Board Game Geek, and print it out, and that'll give you the differences so you can get started with this right away. So I like the cards. They're not really thick, but they're thick enough. And I like the pictures on them, and everything is pretty clear as to, you know, how this works. Overall, man, for what I paid, I think I paid 60 something, and I think it retails for 80, so I'm very happy with it. Let's see. I mean, it's a lot for your money. In my opinion, it's a lot for your money. We have plenty of games that we bought, all of us, right? That we bought that you get it, and you lift the box up, and it's really light. And you're like, man, I paid like 60 bucks for this. This is really, really light. There's not hardly anything in here, and that's not a situation you're going to run into with this. You pick this up, and it's got some heft to it. You get a lot of components. You get a lot of nice things with it. I'm very happy with it. I mean, it's one of those things to where you open it, and you have that Conflict of Heroes reaction, you know? When you first open Conflict of Heroes, you're like, whoa! It's like in Pulp Fiction, where they open the suitcase and it glows like gold or something, and you never wonder what's in. You always wonder what's in there. Kind of thing to where you're like, whoa, this is really nice. So, minor thing, I love it when the sprues come bagged, so that the sprues weren't scratched or damaged, and all the chits come, you know, pristine. Nice touch, just a nice touch all around. Gripes. Some of the cards were kind of vague. I mean, I picked up one card, if you saw in the playthrough, and it said destroy a formation or something like that. It was something to that effect. And I'm like, what do you mean a formation? You mean one of my formations or one of my enemy's formations? Kind of vague. As well as the card system, we had a really crappy draw for the defense, and the defense only having like 4 cards and only getting 1. I mean, it's such a sparse amount of cards that if you get an unlucky draw a couple of times, you can't really do anything. So one of the situations to where if I was playing with my buddy, man, I'd probably have to house rule something, because he wouldn't be able to do hardly anything in the entire game. Just one crappy draw after one crappy draw, and it doesn't take many to pretty much annihilate you as the defender. Other than that, I didn't run into a whole lot of situations to where I was uncomfortable with the rules or I was wondering about something. We had another situation to where we had a secret card you weren't allowed to look at, but it had to be your next order. And then when I went to Opportunity Fire, I'm like, okay, is that an order? You know, kind of thing. It's, you know, there's a couple of things that are kind of vague, but I'm not going to hold it against it. This is otherwise just a fantastic game. I would say out of 10, I'd rate this 9 out of 10. Just because that you have the Combat Commander, if you're learning this, right? You have the Combat Commander videos that you can sort of watch and get like 90% of the game down with one of those, and there's tons of them if you're just learning. And as well as if you play that, you'll be able to hop in here, and it's World War I, which is, it's a nice, refreshing change from the endless supply of World War II games that we see, right? I mean, how many Battle of the Bulge, how many D-Days that you fit on the shelf? So, overall, man, this is a great game. If you can pick it up on sale for 60 bucks, or wow, that is a steal. You will very much enjoy this game if you like the Combat Commander system. Obviously, you're talking 90% overlap between that and this. So, I mean, if you're a fan, or you think you could be a fan, or you saw it played and you want it, you can't go wrong with this, especially since the maps look a lot better than the Combat Commander maps that I've seen online. Again, I don't own it, so, I mean, the maps are just gorgeous. And the Combat Commander maps are more of an ASL style. These are more of a, lock and load tactical kind of style. So, man, overall, I really enjoyed my playthrough of this, and I look forward to playing the other 15 scenarios. I guarantee this is going to hit the table very, very often as a tactical game. Anyway, that's my opinion of it. If you have an opinion, please leave it below in the comments. Like and subscribe if you like this video as well. Thank you for joining me.